Hey, this is Jeremy Courtney with the Preemptive Love Coalition. If you don't know us, Preemptive Love is a global community of peacemakers, and I'm calling on all peacemakers today because there has been a widespread uptick of anti-Asian American violence going on across the United States right now. What this means is that for the last year, really, we've seen a rise in attacks and hate crime and bigotry and just outright racism against Asian Americans. Now, these Asian Americans belong in this country of America, are our neighbors, brothers, sisters, as much as anyone else is. And yet there's a set of people who seem so committed to xenophobia, so committed to this idea that some people belong and some people don't. That when COVID-19 started gaining traction across the United States and many politicians all the way up to President Trump insisted on pushing this narrative that it was a foreign virus brought to us from the outside, they really stoked the fires of xenophobia. And those fires were targeted against one community more than anyone else, and that was our Asian American neighbors. And so by using phrases like, well, I'm not going to boost the harmful phrases that were used, but these words are not neutral. These words are not harmless. They ultimately create anxieties in a certain set of society, fears inside a certain set of society. They nurture it and they feed it until ultimately some very disturbed people act out on their pathologies and do real harm against our neighbors, do real harm in our communities, and do real harm to our capacity to stick together as a society. And so as Preemptive Love, this global community of us, not this organization, that's not how we think of ourselves, this community of us spread out across the United States, spread out across North America, spread out across the world. I'm calling on that community to say, will you stand up? Will you speak up? Will you put your body on the line? Will you use your words? Will you use your network? Will you use your text threads and your social media accounts and your email accounts to stand up against anti-Asian American racism, to stand up for the common good and the common ground that we share together, to stand up for dignity and humanity, and to refuse to reject the belonging of a whole set of people who call America their home as rightly and as truly as I do. This world of racism, this world where we live in suspicion and fear of people that we don't deem to be like us, that's not the world that we are doomed to live in. We get to make this choice about what kind of world we want to have, what kind of people we want to be, what kind of society we want to nurture. And so I'm calling all peacemakers. Will you step in to this work deeper with us? We're hosting a workshop at Love Anyway on anti-racist thinking, anti-racist behavior, anti-racist orientations. How can we as people continue to look inside our hearts and address the harmful ideas and ways of being that we have that lead us as society and as individuals, yes, to violence? I would love for you to join us in our anti-racism workshop. You can find more information here below. And if you believe in this work that we're doing around the world to stop the spread of violence, sometimes it means we're showing up on the front lines of war. Sometimes it means we're showing up in dominant spaces to address just hurtful ideas that keep perpetuating us toward violence against other people. If you believe in that work, I would love for you to consider joining us as a full member of this peacemaking community, which is, I would love for you to join us as a monthly donor. It's the monthly donors that make our work go forward. And so if you're into this, if you want to be a part of a community that does peace around the world, I would love for you to consider joining us today. Thank you so much.